Okay, we will come to order at 5 p.m. Let's do some introductions.
Scott Morley, Select Board.
Karen Keeman, Select Board.
Dan Webster, Select Board.
Matt Maxwell, Town Administrator.
Official Sandra Planning Commission.
Chris Roy.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were pointing at me, sorry, I thought you were pointing behind me. Sorry, Chris Roy.
We also have Deb Tagway, Carleen Leonhardt, and Chris Whiting with us virtually. Any changes to the agenda tonight? I think if nobody minds, we can move Carleen up to right off since she's with us, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll move 89 Main Street up. Hey, Ricky. How are you? Good. And then we can move Ricky's up next if we want.
Hey.
Good.
If you leave it, then they can stay for the meeting.
Wow.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Carlene's here. We'll do Carleen. We'll do after public comment, we'll do 89 Main Street, and then after that, we'll do the domestic animal ordinance, and then we'll get into our other stuff. I don't see the Coventry School people here, so.
Good.
Deb, are the Coventry people coming tonight? Because I don't see anybody here.
Coventry people for,
Were there to ask about sending out their ballots?
oh, you mean the school board?
Yeah,
No, I just asked you to put that on the agenda. I see it's on the agenda.
it is, yeah. They're not coming, nobody's coming from the school though?
No, no.
Okay.
I just have the actual Vermont statute that just needs to be said within the warning. It was the exact same thing the select board did last year for him.
All right, you can tell us what to do when it gets there then. Thanks.
Okay,
Public comment? All right, let's go to.
You got something, Chris?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm not sure if you can turn the volume up a little bit, I couldn't hear, Deb wasn't very loud. So I know if that's on their end, or we can turn them up here.
Say something, would you, Deb?
She's on mute.
there, I just turned my volume up. Is that better?
It is.
It's
I'm
louder.
Okay, I'll just holler.
It's loud.
What's that?
She's gonna holler.
Okay, so buyout agreement, 89 Main Street.
Welcome.
Thanks. Here, Carleen. So this
okay?
last week,
It's low.
there's gonna be a couple other ones. This is not a FEMA related buyout. So this is through the state of Vermont Department of Public Safety. And there's gonna be two other properties in the village that are in this thing. They're not as far along as Carleen's property. Deb Lucas's place and the Grange Hall are both enrolled in the same exact program. And the way that this one works is the only thing that the state of Vermont is gonna pay up front would be to pay the property owner for their property. So it's the responsibility of the town of Coventry to hire an assessor to have that property assessed, whatever that number is. They'll go to Carleen. If she likes the number, she can say yes. She can also say no. Carleen can also hire her own assessor if she would like. She doesn't have to, if she can pay for it out of her own pocket, if she has somebody that she would rather have assess it than who she thinks we're gonna hire. In that case, the state of Vermont will pay her that number that assessor has. At that point, it's the town's responsibility to pay the legal fees for acquiring the title or whatever to that property and then demolishing it and turning it into a green space. We submit invoices for all that stuff for reimbursement.
Once the project's complete or along the way,
Along the way.
we can do it along the
We can
way.
do it along the way. So say we hire an assessor and that costs whatever, $5,000. I can send that in and they'll reimburse us.
Did it say something in there about submitting something every month?
You have to submit like a, what do you call it, progress report.
Oh, okay, not like the invoices.
Yeah, don't worry. I have progress reports, about 20 of them ongoing right now that I do, that I do for various stuff that the town's got going on. So that's an easy thing for me.
We organize everything, everything that goes on.
Yes, so this, with the FEMA ones are different. We've got some FEMA ones going on, but this is different. So when the FEMA ones, they pretty much take care of everything. This one, the town has some responsibilities. Because we're the sub-recipient of this grant. On the other side, on the FEMA side, the subrecipient is the state of Vermont, so they're gonna take care of all that kind of stuff. But it's our job here to hire an assessor. We'd have to use our legal, whatever, hire a lawyer to, transfer the title to the town of Coventry so that we're the owners of that place, and then it's our responsibility to demolish it.
But you said we
We'll get,
submit that,
yes,
we
we
get,
get paid back for all that, yeah.
Up to that number.
I think, but I think that number is mostly just an estimate, like
Mhm.
they're not gonna not pay us, as
Oh,
long as
yeah.
we do it within the guidelines, it's pretty, they spell it out pretty well in there.
Mhm.
You get all that, Carleen?
I believe so, and I've read through the agreement and the grant award and all of that stuff. I think the moving on to the next step or outlaying what's gonna happen next. Do you have a timeline or task list or anything that kind of shows how this is going to progress?
I didn't see anything in there for any sort of timeline, but I think we can get going as soon as, you kind of give us the okay that this is what you want us to do. So-
Okay, so in 2024 or beginning in 2025?
No, I can call up and start hiring an assessor tomorrow if I want to.
So the town, does the town have a contract with an assessor already?
We have an assessing firm that does the assessing work for the town. I don't know if it would be the same one here. I'm not sure how that would work.
It would not.
Yeah. So it would be somebody different.
We will hire a private appraiser, real estate appraiser, not a town tax assessor. Those are different things.
Okay,
You're talking about sale appraisal. You're not talking about tax-based
Right.
assessment.
right,
And it's gonna be assessed, Carleen, at the pre-storm, whatever it was, the day before that big storm in July 2023. That's
right,
how they're gonna be assessing it at,
okay,
Appraising.
appraising, sorry.
phrasing, yeah. Okay,
That's a big difference.
Yeah,
So Carleen, I have a couple of questions. This is Scott. There's multiple owners of this property.
correct, it's myself and my 3 siblings.
So, I don't know exactly how it works either, or how we'll want all this to work, but we're certainly gonna obviously make sure all owners are signing the same documents, right?
Right, and that's I'm sorry, that's a bit of a challenge, just like it was with when we made the application for the buyout. Our sister lives in Dallas and she's disabled and won't be able to travel anywhere. And so whatever needs to be signed or needs her agreement or approval on, then I'll work it from this side. Stephen obviously lives in the village, and then Brian lives in Milton, so he's not too far away. But it is the 4 of us. The house was inherited by the 4 of us.
Okay, we can ask some of those particulars. I could only assume that there's ways around that for power of attorney type purposes, I'm sure that could be given, or, we do a lot of ours through electronic filing, electronic emailing, signing. I mean, there's ways around all of that stuff. I just want to make sure, yours is unique in that it's not a husband and wife scenario. It's,
Right,
we're talking about siblings all over the country. So, when it comes down to, all of the above, all the things that we're gonna have to be signed, dates certain, when demolishing is gonna happen. I mean, there's gonna have to be a lot of coordinated effort, more on your end than ours.
right. And when we had to notarize the documents for the application for the buyout, what I did was I drove to Dallas and took my sister to the bank, and she notarized everything that way. She just unable to travel is the only thing, but both of us being in Texas, I can get that taken care of. Brian and Stephen, obviously Stephen close by and Brian. But yeah, we will have to factor in a little bit of time because the notarization, excuse me, because it's a different state, we can't do it electronically. You could do it online before, excuse me. during COVID, you could do all notarizations online. Now you can't do that unless everybody that's notarizing is in the same state. So to go across state lines, it actually still has to be paper. But what we did with the application was I just went up there, got everything notarized, put them in the mail and sent them in. So we can work around that for sure. Just need to allow a few days for the US Postal Service to get through.
Okay,
And I was, when I was talking before about a timeline or stuff, I'm able to travel just about at any time. So me being there is not that big of a deal, but Valerie is not able to travel.
so, just for my geography over here, we're talking about a house directly across the road from the
The
trucking,
Roshis.
the Roshis.
Yep.
Right, between the apartment building and the truck parking lot,
Right,
the 3-story white house, yeah, with a 3-car garage, not Stephen's house, which is directly across from the community center.
okay, so Stephen's house, that's only Stephen? That's not the
Yes.
sib-
Yes, he owns that house, yeah.
Okay.
The other house was our parents' house.
Got it. All right, well, what do we need? You know the particulars, but again, we're not gonna spend money. There has to be some form of document here before we start spending money on an appraiser.
What do you mean?
with all their, is that what you're getting at? With everybody, so we know that everybody has signed it.
Right,
Oh, you mean the document from the Leonhards
Yeah.
or the Taylors?
yeah,
Yeah, so it kind of in line with that, in the documentation that I read, it didn't reference anywhere the funding for the actual sale, purchase of the house or any of that. I didn't see that in any of the grant documents. So is that factored in, or is the town having to pay for that?
No, the state will pay you. The town will have to pay for it to be appraised. And then the state of Vermont will pay you that appraisal number.
Okay, so that's why I was just interested in, is the town, any of the money gonna have to come directly out of the taxpayers' pockets to do this? Because when it was gonna be a FEMA buyout, everything was included.
Correct. This is different. Yeah, so there will be some, the town will have to expend some money, but we'll get it back.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to be sure of that. I didn't want, a lot of money coming out of,
No, and we agreed, that was part of the town agreed to be the sub-grantee or the sub-recipient on all of these that weren't gonna be included in the FEMA buyouts. So the town agreed to do that, so now we have to do what we agreed to do.
Is there anything that we have to pay for and not get back?
We'll get it all, we'll get everything back to the table.
So it's,
Yep.
it's good. Yeah.
It's just, we have to pay it
Yeah.
first, and this, like, that's reimbursable, you said that.
and the grant is quite substantial, so I don't have any doubts that everything will be within the budget of the grant, because it was a lot more than I thought it was gonna be for one,
Yeah, and I don't
one takedown, yeah,
any problems with the number that they gave us.
I agree.
But we just don't want to spend any money and then have one sibling say, I didn't want to do that.
right.
So signing that document doesn't lock them in.
Well, I don't,
We didn't have to sign anything. We
Right.
signed the application for the buyout, but not for the granting or of the grant itself.
Right.
And so that's why I was wondering I haven't been able to find any real guidance on the buyout except for what FEMA follows. So as far as with the FEMA buyouts, you have the property owner has a right to withdraw right up to the signing. But I'm assuming it's the same with this grant?
Yes, you'll have the right to withdraw after, like, we'll have to have it appraised.
Right,
If you don't agree with that number, then it's off, and then the town can still submit that, whatever it cost us to get it appraised, we can still submit that and get reimbursed from that, and then it's over. And then the house stays there and, you know, we stop right there. But if you like the number, then they will pay you that number and then the town will be forced to go on with the demolition and, you know, the acquiring of the property and all that.
So at what point, Matt, do you think we'll have some type of at least a framework or a timeline? So when the house sells, because there's still stuff in the house that will need to be taken out, how much time will we have between the closing of the house, or we have to move everything out before the closing? Do we have any idea what type of a project plan this is gonna look like?
I don't know exactly, Carlene, but there are dates in there that I remember and I'll read through that and get back to you.
Okay, cause yeah, I thought just kind of general months.
An amount of time, there is an amount of time between when the town takes possession of that property and when it has to be demolished. There is a timeline on that, but I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head.
Okay, yeah, I just, like I said, I
So,
thought it was gonna start in 2025, but this is fine, yeah.
yes, I remember there being that timeline too, but Carlene is making another good point, one which I would be pretty firm on, which is, you know, you always have to have triggers, right, Carlene? I mean, you
Yep.
don't things to draw on and on, so there's has to be something just like a closing in a normal situation where you go buy or sell a house. The day of the closing, has been moved.
Right.
Everything's gone. It's not like we're gonna transition this check, this money
Right.
to property owners and then still have a house full of contents. That's not gonna happen.
No.
Right.
So we're gonna have to be date certain on when the closing is gonna happen, and that will be the date that everything will have to have been moved out, all personal property. And then there's another date that you were talking about, Matt, which is the amount of time the town will have from the closing date to the demolition completion date. And that's a separate scenario of which Carlene would have no interest in, because their interest in the property's gone and they've gotten their money. It's the business end of the town.
Yep.
But we don't want to get to a closing and then have to beg for things to be moved.
Right.
So is the plan to have a plan? I guess is the plan to have an actual written project plan of how this is gonna be executed? And then meetings or follow-ups or progress reports, anything like that? And because, Scott, like you said, after the closing of the house, yes, legally, we don't have any interest in there, but I would also like to be there when it's demolished. That's just a personal thing, not part of this project, but yes, I would like to be there when it's demolished and, but yeah, will there be a large project plan rather than a just kind of go by the seat of a pants thing?
Seems like that would have to be once they accept the appraised value. I think then maybe there's some sort of plan could be put in place, but until it's assessed and you all agree, we wouldn't be able to plan anything. Because then we'd have to get somebody for the demolition
And part of the appraisal will also be a survey, correct? You're gonna survey the property lines and things like that? And do the environmental impact review? That was all a part of the FEMA project, so I'm not sure the difference between the state and then the FEMA project, but doing the property line survey, the studies, the asbestos studies and all that?
Yes, they will do all that kind of stuff,
Okay,
but that's before the demolition, the asbestos and all that kind of stuff. That, the first thing we'll do will be the appraisal, right? Did I say it right this time?
okay, so what next?
Next.
attorneys get a document of some sort. Everybody still in agreement, your siblings?
As far as I know.
Well, the next step is we're gonna have to have it appraised.
Yep.
We'll have to have it appraised. So there's some local appraisers, Matt, we probably should be reaching out to.
Mhm.
think there's one or two that live in town, actually.
One right in Newport, in our town?
So that'll be on Matt to reach out to an appraiser. It would be good business, I suppose, if we could get one that would be interested in doing, the whole town project.
Yep, I'll let them know that there's other ones in the
Yeah,
pipeline.
get some sort of priority out of that. And I don't imagine it'll take very long. We probably will have that before the next meeting.
Yeah,
Be my guesstimate, and then along that way, Matt will continue to communicate and talk with his state resources. And get more of Carlene's answers, you're the first one, Carlene, so
Well, I thought about that when you said that, and I thought, well, maybe this will be the framework for the future one, so a learning opportunity of
yeah.
what to do and what not to do.
I mean, as far, really, I mean, as far as you and your family's part goes, it seems like the easiest thing there is.
You would think it is, yeah, but it's,
Well,
once again,
The town is doing it all, right? I mean, there's really, if we get this appraiser and we get the paperwork done for you and you accept the price and you get a check by date certain, it's sort of like, I mean, that's kind of all you gotta do.
yeah, it's just kind of the emotional part, obviously, of losing a homestead type of thing. And then I think the second big concern for the family is, although all of the documents requirements say it has to be maintained as green space, like, what is the town going to do with it? Is the town just gonna top it, reseed it? Keep it just as a big green space and not do anything with it? Because obviously you can understand Stephen's concern if it becomes an open space and then all of a sudden stuff starts moving in or happening on that space. And plus Dale, with the apartment building, what's gonna happen to that space between the apartment building and the Roches?
Well, it's pretty limited in what the town has the ability to do. We went through those definitions and those discussions earlier, but my interpretation of it and what my thought would be at this point would be it's grass.
Yeah.
Just like, Lady Bird Park across the road. I mean, that's what it's gonna be. We'll maintain it. We're not gonna let it go, to be an eyesore. It's gonna be mowed and trimmed and cared for, and that's what it's gonna be. Now, what that holds in the future, I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows that.
Right, yeah,
Whether the town chooses to put benches there for people to sit on or, incorporate it into some sort of walking loop. I don't know those answers. Nobody does.
right.
But
And then you probably have seen it. There's a really huge tree that sits between 89 Main and 147. So our parents' house and Steve's house is a very huge tree. I don't know if that's actually on Stephen's property or if it's on the property 89 Main, which is why I asked for the survey to be done. But either way that it goes, we would like to ask that all measures be taken to not destroy that tree. It's just a huge tree. It's been there. We always refer to it as Dad's tree because I believe my dad planted it there. So that tree, and then just so you know that the house is actually built on several really large granite blocks, like 4 by 2 by 2 blocks. I mean, it's really huge. It's what the house basically sits on. Those blocks might be of use to the town somewhere, something retaining or something, but that's what basically what the house is built on. So any salvage of any of that stuff that could be put to better use, we'd be very supportive of that. Just something that might come in handy, so. And the appraiser may make a note of that as he's going through that, but there's just some things there that might be used, like you said, you use it to sit on under the tree if you wanted to.
okay, well,
Something to consider, yeah. So we'll just plan on going forward, and Matt, just, let me know what you need or what's going on, and we'll go from there.
Will do. Thank you, Carlene.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, couple of questions, Mr. Chair. Or Madam Chair, whoever.
Go ahead, please.
You kind of alluded to it, but in my world, I like to have definite answers. Why is the town looking to do this?
Matt,
We're not, these are property owner decisions. It's got nothing to do with the town. Property owners have decided to enroll in this program and the town supporting them.
What's the program?
What's that?
What is the program?
This one's through the State Department of Public Safety. I can't remember what the name of it is.
So towns buy the property, I'm trying to play this in my head.
For this one, yes, the town would purchase the property.
Again, why?
Because the property owner can show a history of flooding over many, many years. And damage to the property, and they're sick of pumping the water out of their basement.
And where these other, but the town gets reimbursed by the state or FEMA?
Correct. For this one, it's a state of Vermont program, because these properties, 89 Main Street and a couple of other ones I mentioned, are not technically in a flood zone, but they can show a history of flood damage over many years, so they're eligible for us. This is a secondary program that the state's doing.
You mean they being the owners of the property,
Correct.
Where are these other properties? Are they next door? Are they in the village?
They're in the village, yeah. There's two other ones in the village.
And just so folks who might be this is Chris Roy, I actually freelance for I'm a freelance journalist now, and hoping the article will be in the paper if I can, it's not up to me. But yeah, just wanted to ask those housekeeping questions, because like I said, in my business, you never like to assume anything.
Correct, yeah, that's why we like you, Chris.
So the assessor, you give a fair market value.
Yeah, so the appraiser is gonna appraise it at the value that they feel like that property would have had the day before the big storm came in July of 2023. That's the date that the state of Vermont is gonna tell them to use.
And the owners can still accept or refuse.
Correct, yes, if they don't like the number, they can say no, and then they can hire their own appraiser out of their own pocket and have it appraised, and the state of Vermont will pay them that number, if they wanna do it that way.
And you're looking at turning their property into a green space, is that the same for the other two space, and they're all within the village, you said, right?
Correct.
So are you looking at the all green spaces?
We wouldn't have a choice. If that's what happens, then that's what the state of Vermont is requiring the towns to do.
And it is in perpetuity,
Yes.
so 100 years from now, some other select board can't say, we want to build.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but I mean, that's the way it's written in these contracts.
The way the wording is now is in perpetuity.
Correct, yes. Yep,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, Ricky, thanks for coming, and next up is domestic animal ordinance.
Been having some fun on your hill?
right, Rick?
And so this is different from a dog ordinance. This deals with animals that people keep on their property, such as cows, chickens, goats, pigs.
Yeah, so I asked for this to be put on here because we've had this issue come to us a few times now, just this year. We're not just picking on Rick. We've had beef cows, we've had pig. We've had, what? Seems like
I haven't
we had
heard,
some
what is this? What is this?
chickens. We've had chickens. So, and each time that came to us, we all sort of. Well, we don't have anything. We don't have an ordinance for it. We have an animal control officer who does a great job. Spending time in our town, addressing those concerns, talking to all of the affected parties. And trying to resolve the issues for us, not always successfully. And nothing to do with Renee, it's because we don't have an ordinance. So it's come to us a number of times. I'm one that always says I don't like a lot of rules. But this has really gotten out of hand. And so this last issue that is in front of us today, we're talking about, I actually did a site visit myself. I did with the cows too, but I met with, the owners, the owner or owners, and, it was not a healthy, productive meeting. I was very unsuccessful in having a communication that I thought might help to resolve the matter. It's just the way it is. And I don't have the energy for
Is this on W Road? I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with this issue
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Well, you must have said something right, because I haven't seen it sent, so. But that doesn't mean it can't happen again.
So I'm pretty straightforward on issues, and I certainly was, but good. So I'm glad there's a temporary
Yeah.
stay. But we need to, I think, the town, and that's why I wanted to talk about it here again with you guys and say, I think the town really needs to look at this one. And I don't know what that looks like. I'm sure there'd be varying opinions on how to do that. Other towns do that. We're told, Renee, right?
Derby recently passed one.
They recently passed one. But because it is, sort of a rights issue for me, it's a town meeting issue. I'm always more comfortable in an issue like this, Ricky, and I've talked about that. I told him my thoughts were around things like that, which is we could just start, we could vote yes, yes, and yes, or yes, yes, and no, or however we do it. And start the process now, but there's gonna be pushback on that. There are going to be a lot of people who vote no. Because they own a pig, that's a problem, or beef cows that are problems, or chickens, or cows, or goats. And so, this is one of those things where I think it's good that we do it, it's good that we talk about it, it's good that we don't react to it, so for me, I think that's a good process. If the group
Yeah,
thinks that,
I'm
we're
with-
kind of there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what there means, but it would probably be asking the town to talk about it at town meeting, get everybody's thoughts and opinions, put a vote on it. And then if the town wanted such an ordinance, and we could give some examples of other towns, or folks could look at those things, then we could build that for the town. But you'd be supported that way, you wouldn't just be standing up here fighting with your neighbors.
Yeah.
It would be more of a uniform, thoughtful approach. And we could do the research and see what other towns are doing, and use Renee, a lot like we did, with the dog ordinance. We think we were very thoughtful about that. So Rick, my apologies on behalf of the town for what you have.
It's not your fault. I mean,
Well,
the thing is like you said, if you don't do anything, there's nothing I can do right now. I
Right.
have been, like I said, I reached out to you, Renee, who was very helpful, but there's only so much she can do.
right,
And then you gotta kind of, find out what's a pet and what's a farm animal too. That's one thing that they're gonna have to, because, speaking for my neighbor, Pat Higgins, the pig one day chased his daughter and nipped at her. And, and I did mention to the sheriff that I said, well, if I have my granddaughter over and that happens, or any of my family members, I'm gonna shoot it. And, oh, you can't do that, you'll be in trouble. So I said, well, what can I do? I said, it's digging up my lawn, and the response from him was, well, lawns can be replaced, and I understand that, but, those people aren't gonna replace my lawn. And, so, yeah, I mean, it would have to be you guys would have to figure out, what's described as a farm animal, or it doesn't matter. It's.
Yeah.
It's
there will.
creating havoc.
Yeah, there will definitely be legalities to consider, look at, get thoughts and opinions from everybody, look at other towns, go through a vetting process. I don't wanna see people get in trouble, and that's what I've sensed the last few times that this has come up. It's like people are,
Well, it could cause a lot of trouble.
it can
and
cause,
I've been
it can cause,
patient
a
myself,
that's right.
more than probably
it
my
can,
wife has kept me patient
yeah,
more than anything, but.
I don't wanna see it happen. I don't
Right,
wanna, I don't wanna
right, I
see you
don't
get in
either.
trouble. I don't wanna see anybody else
No,
get in trouble.
I don't either, but
I don't wanna see kids get bit.
we shouldn't have to
Right.
put up with that. That's
Yeah.
just,
As far as the property damage thing goes, we talked about this last time with the cows. I mean, the town's, the town's not a fix-all, right? That's still personal property and you're gonna have to sue them.
right,
That's where it happens, in the courts, which
Right.
is if there's personal property damage with sewers or anything, it's your property, it's not our
Yeah.
property, and you've gotta go
right,
down
right.
that line
I
yourself,
understand
but,
that. But you get frustrated, because there's nothing I can do right now.
Yeah.
And I did want to just ask one question, does the town of Coventry pay the sheriff's department for services?
Yeah,
They do? Yeah. So I contacted them, talked to a sheriff, who told me about the land thing, and then, said he would look into it and get back to me, never heard a word. When it stopped coming for a while, then it came back, I called him again, talked to a supervisor or left a message with the supervisor, never got back.
Hmm.
You know, it just kind of concerns me that if we're paying for a sheriff's, protection and where you have a contract with them and they don't even get back to you, that's a little concerning to me.
that's concerning to me. So without going into the personnel piece in the meeting here, could you come and see Matt sometime and give him more of those particulars and Matt follow up on that? And so that he's not just calling out of the blind and,
Sure.
so.
And I'm not trying to,
No.
call anybody out
Right.
or but I would think that, that if you make a call, and I know it's not, it's not anything big, but
Right.
it's a concern,
Yeah.
and I thought I should have at least got some kind of response.
yes.
They don't like dealing with those, but we do pay.
Well, if they're being paid, then that's our tax dollars, and, if they don't wanna deal with it, they won't have a contract with us, I would assume, but.
And since they said they'd look into it and get back to you, if they'd have said there's nothing I can do, then that might have been the end of it, but.
Right, and that's fine with me, I mean, but just give me a call and let me know what happened, and that would be fine.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'll apologize first because well, maybe I shouldn't apologize, but I'll just state, I don't really know how this goes, and I'm not sure where the public comment comes in or whatever, but your first comment was about, people with animals and there's a lot of people that have animals. It's not just bad people. I've got cows. I enjoy having cows. My neighbor, he's got cows. I know people that have horses, right? So I read the proposed domestic animal ordinance, and nobody wants to have bulls running across their backyard. I don't want to have bulls running across my backyard, and I've got cows, right? Nobody wants an animal that can do personal harm running across their yard unconstrained without any kind of safety, right? And if you got neighbors that it's their cows and they don't care what their animals do, what can you do about it? My concern with the domestic animal ordinance isn't that piece of that, because I understand, you have people that won't control their animals, and animals can do harm. What do you do about that? My concern is that domestic animal ordinance goes above and beyond that to say, if your animals make noise, we're going to fine you. Then the fine's going to go up, and then we're going to take your animals. Animals make noise. At what decibel level is your neighbor have a right to complain about the noise when you're 300 yards away from your neighbor's house? So I would just ask the board to think about the scope of the ordinance and the intent of what you're trying to do.
So we are not even considering any of those details at this point. The discussion that we're having is, should we consider those details? And should we ask the town at town meeting to provide us guidance to look at those details? And then we can get there, but we're talking 6 months from now.
Gotcha. I think it's a slippery slope.
I think it is too, that's why it's not here. That's why we don't have one,
Come to town meeting.
yeah.
Well, I mean, do you just let this go on like it is and have, I mean, because at some point.
Yeah.
We will take it into our own hands and just
Yeah.
have to do what we have to do, and, I mean.
The answer is no. I mean, knowing what I know now, I will raise my hand at town meeting and say, I think we should have an ordinance at this point. And that's a different decision that I would have made a year ago. But having sat here and listened to all of the folks that have come in here with their varying problems, it's not right. It's not right that somebody gets to damage your property, impose upon your life without there being an ability of somebody to push back on that. That's just not right. And
It's not
so
really noise we're talking about.
it's not noise, but yes, I get it. I get all of those things that Mr. Whiting and a whole bunch of other people and probably myself can come up with on, well, what if this and what if that? So there's gotta be a lot of thought about it. We've got to look at a lot of towns that have done it and look at what's worked and what hasn't. But something has to be done.
Does the town have a nuisance and trespass ordinance?
No,
No, okay.
And what you're saying, like, what do we do? And I don't know your situation. It sounds like you've tried this, but sometimes just starting over with the conversation, that we've had incidences by me, and we're able to start all over, and I don't think we've had any much trouble.
And I'm not talking about somebody's cow getting out and coming, that's not, and, them realizing it and saying, oh boy, you know what, they broke the fence or whatever, that, and we'll take care of it, that's. But this is like, no, screw you,
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah.
This is what's gonna happen.
yeah, that makes it
so
maddening.
what are you guys in favor of that? You think it's a town meeting issue? You wanna?
I think so, and they can even, the discussion too can be about just the damage, it can, one piece of it can be about the noise or not including the noise or.
Safety.
Yeah, it's kind of all about, safety.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that's the best way, and then like in your situation, that's not very helpful. But I think it's the
Well, to
right
start.
way to do it.
And you gotta start somewhere. I mean, if you don't do anything, then it's not, the problem's never gonna go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to do something.
Is there anything pigs don't like? I don't think so. Like mice, mothballs or soap or sprinkle it all, yeah, sprinkle it all around your house.
And I'm not I don't not dislike animals. That's not the point here.
No.
It's just, I feel frustrated because stuff is happening and I can't do anything about it.
Mhm.
It's just.
All right, so unless there's,
Question.
Could somebody explain what brought that discussion tonight? I'm sorry, and either that we could talk after, Scott. I'm just wondering what brought this discussion here tonight? Unless you want to spend a few minutes afterward.
yeah, let's do it after. So, I would make a motion that the select board add, an article in the town meeting warning for the town to consider, whether or not to ask the select board to create an ordinance for what are we
Domestic
animals.
domestic animals.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Very good.
There's an article for you, Matt.
Yeah, that's the only one you're allowed. So that's pretty more.
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
It's always hard to come in, it's
No,
always
I know.
hard
I
to
know.
do all that
Thank you.
stuff, so.
Thank you. I wanna thank Scott he came up for another issue too, so, it's been really helpful and thanks for your time.
We gave out Scott's number.
I already got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, Coventry Village School ballots. What is this, Deb?
Hey, so it's just like last year. It's the state where they've gone ahead and made these certain requirements. I know last year Scott Morley asked why. He's going to ask why again this year, but it's going to be the exact same answer. It just is what it is because of the state. But because the school is Australian ballots for all articles for town meeting, they do have the right to be able to mail those ballots out to every active non-challenged voter in the town of Coventry. However, before they can go ahead and make that motion for them to do that, it is based on, I will tell you right here, it is based on statute 17 VSA 2680 G2. And it basically says that a school board may, after receiving the approval of the legislative body of each member town in the district, vote to mail its annual meeting ballot to all active registered voters in the district. And of course, in such case, the town clerk, election officials, and the member towns shall be responsible for the mailing of the ballots, but all costs associated with the mail ballot shall be borne by the school district. So it's basically the exact same thing again. They want to go ahead and mail ballots out to everyone. They need your approval. Once they receive your approval, then they can do their final approval, and that's what's going to happen with the school ballots.
Okay, you guys got all that?
Yes.
All right.
I was not gonna ask again, Deborah. Learned last year. Do you guys get it? What, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Again, yeah.
Yes, they can. They want to do it. They're going to pay for it. And
yeah, for whatever reason, the law's just got that clause in there that said after getting authorization to do it
Mhm.
by us, so it's,
Yeah.
all right, so. Good.
Yeah.
You guys got enough of that to motion, or you want me to?
either way, make a motion to allow the school to mail annual meeting ballots per state statute 17 VSA 2680 G2.
Thank you.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Perfect.
Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the gravel pit parcel on Hancock Hill.
Anything new?
I got some more thoughts on this one.
Good.
Okay, it's all yours, Dan.
Whenever we talk about it, I don't feel like we have a good answer with it. So I didn't talk to observers, but I talked to more residents, thought about it more. Residents that knew nothing about it, people that knew a lot about it. And there was no, this is what we should do. Some people thought, let them do what they're doing. Some people thought, no way, they shouldn't be doing that. I think if there was a majority, they thought that the town should get the rent. I think I'm gonna stand on just let them do what they're doing. Or buy their rights. I think at the time Obzerks and the town of Coventry made a deal. And the spirit then was the town wanted the gravel, and we're happy to see the land stay in ag. And it's not a junkyard or a campground. They're gonna benefit from the land, whether they do what they're doing or they plant the seeds and eat it themselves. buying the rights, I found we paid $4,000 an acre for it when we bought it. I don't know what a gravel pit's worth. I talked to Nathan and John. And it's not a horrible gravel pit. I don't know much about gravel pits. What is a gravel pit worth? Is that a good one? Is that a bad one? What have we benefited from it? What are we going to? I think that would go into play with, if it came to buying the rights, what we paid them. And then if you guys saw that was crazy, the town said that's crazy, I think at least we gotta give them, like, if everyone said, no, that's wrong, they're, you know, if it came to that, I think we gotta give them a clear line of what they're doing wrong. I feel if I didn't like the observers, I could justify whatever they did was out of the spirit of the agreement. And vice versa. So thinking of that's what we paid.
I was wondering how many acres and then, oh,
Thinking of that, if it went to that, I went to the USDA and I got maps of the Observers Farm and in the town's land, what tillable acres. Just some kind of thought on if it went to, they shouldn't be doing that. I think the thought would be that they're out of the spirit of it, right? We've talked about that. I think people would be thinking why they think that's out of the spirit is because maybe when the deal was made, they had animals. So if we could tell them you have to have so many animals, you know, it's with ag business, where you could justify so many different things, right or wrong. They could milk 50 cows there and have to rent more land. Or they can manage it in a different way and rent 50 acres and sell all that feed they grew in that field and it look just like it is, like they're doing now. And I think at the time when the deal was made, they were milking about 50 cows. I'm not sure about that, but. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I came up with a kind of a complicated formula of a livestock per acre, if you will.
you said tillable, how much is tillable? Most of it.
This
What
this
this
isn't the
is?
town land. This is just what. I don't know why they outline all that.
Oh,
but
okay,
These numbers are tillable acres. That's
oh, okay.
what we own, what the town owns.
Yeah, because we got almost 40 acres and that's 13 and
Yeah.
7.
With the gravel pit, all that land that the town owns is 39 something acres,
Mhm.
almost 40. But what they're renting out, however you want to call it, those are the numbers.
Mhm.
If the town was to collect rent, they wouldn't collect rent on 40 acres, they'd collect rent on. those
20
numbers.
acres. And rents, how much is rent on 20 acres of land if you're hay or?
Oh, depends what you plant.
Mhm.
Corn-
Oh, really?
Corn's a little bit, yeah, corn land's a little bit more expensive than grassland.
They're probably not making a killing.
The observers,
Mhm. Yeah,
pretty good.
oh, really?
Yep.
It's not right, but I really don't know that there's anything we can do. The way it's written. And there are signs. Nice job.
You talk to the lawyer?
Not without my gloves on.
I
So
think,
this is what happens when towns don't inform everybody. This is why we don't do ordinances on our own. This is what town meetings are for. This, you know, if we've done anything in the last 2 years, we've shed the light on our business, right? All- Special funds, bad. That's how this came to be. Right? It didn't go through the normal town process that other towns would have to go through to go buy a piece of land. Where it gets vetted and people come and express opinions and thoughts and challenge and you walk through all those issues. When you do something other than that in town business, we get to pay for that now. So there were a number of mistakes made in this. And the real challenge for us is to say, do we fix it or do we hand it to the next select board? It's a tough one,
right.
And it could
but
be,
that's what's gonna happen.
and
right?
again, it could be a town meeting question.
That's where I've been going. Which is, now what can we do about it? We've got clauses in that deed too. We can take bulldozers up there and strip the whole thing off tomorrow if we want to. We have full right to do it. It's our land. It's written that way.
Mhm.
Now, do you wanna do that? I don't wanna do that.
I don't know why that would benefit us.
Well, who knows? We can go up there and start mining and figure out what that 30 acres contains, right? I don't know. But that's not, again, that wouldn't be the spirit of it either, but there has to be meeting in the middle. It's sort of like what we talked about with the other stuff. If you just get one partner that says, I'm benefiting from this and I'm not gonna have a discussion, it sort of makes us, we work for the town, right? That's our job. Our job is to defend the town. Not defend a person or a street, but to defend the town's business. Well, the town conducted some business, I would say, and anybody I would assume that looked into this as much as we have, pretty poor business in this one. And that's true, but that doesn't mean we just say to hell with it and let the town get taken advantage of forever and a day. And we've tried pretty much everything I think that we can try now, and we haven't reacted, we haven't been hasty, we haven't sent the bulldozers in yet, we haven't done any of those things yet. Because sometimes you just let time go by, like you said, you get more people involved, you get conversations going. I am certainly not ever gonna say it's a good idea to buy your own rights back that you already own and paid for, so I wouldn't be voting for that one. So I don't know where I'm at. That's why I haven't been strong on anything yet, because I don't really know where I'm at. I know where it's supposed to be. Everybody knows where it's supposed to be, right? But it's not there. And so it's our job to wrestle through it. And figure it out, because otherwise you're gonna get 3 new select people in here 3 years from now or 15 years from now, and they're gonna have the same pictures on the same table, trying to figure out why there's, 150 camels up there. Or an elk farm
Yeah.
running all over town, or, who knows what, because there's no guardrails to it. So. I think where I got, and thank you, hard, isn't it?
What's that?
It's hard.
It is.
This is really hard because we're neighbors first. We're friends, we're family, we're neighbors first. all but the people in the town. That's what we are first. And then our unfortunate job sometimes is to put on the parenting hat and say, well, we've got to make a decision for the town's business and put aside that other stuff, which is extremely hard. I think in this one case, if we don't find some success somehow, we'll not be doing anybody in town a favor in the future. What do you think?
I think it's a lot to think about. And I've thought about it a lot, and there's really, I don't know, like you said, go bulldoze it. Cause it is in there, if the town wants it to use, then they get it back, I mean, you lose the rights to. Or if the town sells it, then the clause doesn't go with it, well, maybe the officers are gonna.
Does it say
move
that
to-
in there? It does,
It does say that.
that if the town sells the property, that right goes away.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember that piece. But it could be, that's a. I mean, so, again, there's plenty of way, if that were true, right, you could sell it, then buy it back. There's all kinds of ways that you can manage your way through that. The issue is, do you wanna manage your way through that or not, right? That's the conversation we've been having, and we were hoping that we'd have a willing partner. And we could find any other ways that are proper to do that, like lease it back to them. For what, for a year, there's all kinds of things you can do, right? But there are going to be more people than not, I suspect, who spend 1 hour thinking about this in town meeting, and who are gonna say, well, what are you asking me as a town member? You're asking me to say it's okay for a person to rent our land and make money? What do you think they're gonna say?
Anyone who I asked, who didn't know anything about it, said just what we know they're gonna say.
Right,
That's crazy.
that's crazy. Yeah, fix it. That's what they're gonna say.
That's.
Because
the
they're
people
right.
Who knew about it were different.
Yeah, right, you know, when you should become friends and family and you know, then things tend to get a little bit more soft. But just as a pure business approach to that, it's kind of a no-brainer.
So out of curiosity, can I just ask, is this just a bad contract issue?
It's in
Pretty
the-
much,
It's in the deed, they have, the family that owned it, that the town bought it from, has use of it. Their heirs and assigns have the use of it, so they've rented it to another farmer, and he's planted corn on it. Cause they're not farming anymore,
So they're collecting the rent on the land.
Right,
that the
the
town,
land that they own the deed to?
no, the town
no,
holds the
town owns
deed.
the land.
Okay, then enforce the deed.
Well, right,
Deed is,
It's a poor deed, that's the issue, Carleen. The deed's
It's what?
It's a pretty poorly done deed, that's the problem.
In the deed, it says the town owns it and they have the rights to use it for agriculture. But they're heirs and assigns. So their assign is another farmer that's paying them rent.
But the town holds the deed.
Correct.
Correct.
From a business perspective, I would say the town holds the deed, the town has the right to sell the property.
Oh, yeah, we can,
Yeah.
we can definitely sell it, we're trying to be nice, that's all.
But it sounds like a business conversation. Business isn't always nice. It's supposed to be practical.
Mhm.
So,
see,
yeah,
The town bought the land for the gravel pit that's on that.
right, yeah. But times change, things change.
Yeah, that's for
So,
sure.
and I know you, all three of you are like, well, we don't want to be the group that makes that change and drives that forward, but to me, the problem sounds pretty clear. Your options are fairly limited. And your solution is get control back of the property, right? That's the solution, get control back?
Correct.
That's correct.
Chris?
When did the town buy the property and what was the price tag?
2007, I believe,
160,000,
160.
160,000.
160,000,
40 acres.
40 acres, and this is on, Hancock Hill?
Correct.
With the, understanding that the previous owner could use it for ag use. And he no longer, and he is no longer using it for ag use for whatever reason. And he's renting it. And you guys are kind of crying, well, wait a minute, you're crying foul, what's going on here, because you believe you should be getting the money, is that? Is that a fair assessment, is that a fair mindset?
No,
Okay,
it's town land.
well, that's what I'm saying,
And.
well, that's what you guys, the town
And-
owns the land.
And there are townspeople who have brought this issue to the select board. And have made a statement that they don't think it's appropriate for an individual to make money on town land. That's the answer, that's the issue.
Is there anything that prohibits that either in the town constitution, for lack of a better word, or state constitution?
No,
I mean, is the owner doing anything illegal?
no. No,
And-
we're the owner. The town is the owner.
So if you,
It would be like you own property
yeah,
and your neighbor makes money off of it. Would you think that's a good idea?
gotcha. And you're talking about selling the property and buying it back?
No, we're not talking about anything. We're talking about how to deal with it, if we want to deal with it at all. And I suspect the answer is, unfortunately, we do have to deal with it because it is business for the town and it's not gonna get resolved unless we resolve it. And so, I think we got sidetracked on some other issues with, Mr. Monahan, but the last time that we discussed this just a teeny tiny bit, he was thinking about coming, or isn't that what he was gonna do? He was gonna call in and give us, he was nearly ready to, he's
Yeah.
looked at the deed and he's heard a little bit, and I think he watched one of our meetings maybe, and he sort of like framed it in his mind, a legal perspective on what could or couldn't or mightn't be done for the board to consider about having to take next steps. So we can get back to there. It's probably a good idea to hear that. I guess I would just say again, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep your mind open, keep looking for solutions, keep talking to everybody that you can until you're totally exhausted. To try to figure it out because it's that issue. And if you can play a part in resolving that issue for your town, for future generations, you're the man. It's tough stuff. I just,
Is the town suffering a loss?
No,
Okay. So the town's not suffering a loss. It's just a disagreement of opinions on how it should be used.
I wouldn't call it that either.
no, so somebody's making money off town land. That's the issue.
But they're not breaking any contractual agreement.
That's
they,
up for
they,
discussion.
they probably are, but
Then
the,
it's a legal discussion, right? If they're breaking a contractual agreement.
right.
And if they are, if they're not, then it's just a matter of somebody doesn't like the situation. but it doesn't seem like it's progressing. The solution's not progressing because it's such a tough discussion to have. Taking away somebody's income because they're charging rent on property that they don't own without the consent of the town. So the town either consents to it, takes a portion as income for the town, or it just has to stop for legal contractual reasons.
That's about it.
And you know you're not gonna please everybody, right? That's the hot seat that you guys are in, unfortunately, is that you won't be able to please everybody, but like you said, Scott, you're the voice of what's best for the town.
Yeah.
You're there to help the town stay out of conflict.
Chris, you have a question on this one?
How long has this been going on?
I was talking to the other Chris.
Oh, sorry.
He goes, Chris, and make it quick, because I'm ready to move on from this one.
Yes,
You make-
sir.
Chris Roy.
I guess I was just, I think you do have a really bad business deal, but I think the bad business deal has already occurred. But I would maybe like to put a different perspective on this, because it sounds like folks are upset that someone is making money, or that they're retaining positive value, put it that way. They're retaining positive value on property that's owned by the town. Now, regardless of whether that positive value is cash or it's food to feed their cows that they turn into milk that they then turn into cash, either way, they're retaining positive value from the land. And so it seems like that, to me, that was the intent. The town needed a gravel pit, and these folks needed to use the property, or wanted to, they didn't want to sell it, they wanted to retain the use of it. It doesn't say personal use, it doesn't say business use, it doesn't say commercial use. Again, this is, a lawyer looking at it, seeing what exactly did the town agree to. But to me, it sounds like there are folks that are seeing somebody get benefit from something they don't own. And it sounds like a jealousy issue to me, but jealousy and legality are two different things.
Other Chris?
Yeah, how long has this been going on? And was there any clause for how long? And maybe Matt can tell me tomorrow, who owns the property, and was there anything in the contract, how long the previous owners could farm the land?
We just said in perpetuity.
And how long has it been mentioned?
This is
We-
longer than 1 year.
Yeah, we found out,
We just found out this year.
We don't know basically how long they've been doing it.
And who is the person?
Which person?
Who you talk, whoever had owned the land before the town bought it, when
The Zurich family.
what is it?
The Zurich family.
How can you send me the spelling?
Yep. Okay.
thank you,
Sorry.
thank you, Chris Whiting, that was definitely a different,
So we'll get
Perspective.
the town's attorney to give us a little bit of a frame on that. Go from there.
All right, the Newport ambulance contract is in that manila envelope. It is exactly what Chris and Charlie said it was going to be. I read through it. There's 2 copies there. Sign them both. I will keep one here, and I will put the other one on Deb's desk, and she can bring it to Newport ambulance.
Thank you.
This just for Scott?
Just for Scott, yeah.
So it's,
And then make a motion.
you read right through it.
I've read through it. It is exactly what they said it was gonna be. No tricks.
I think they've done a very good job.
Mhm.
How come they don't have the full board?
Deb?
They've never done that.
I'd have to look their contracts. Who signed it, Charlie?
Yep.
I'm trying to think, I think in prior years, it's always been the chair of the select board who has signed.
No, how come the whole board of directors for Newport Haven?
Sign it right now.
Sign it.
Oh, yeah, because they just appoint 2 individuals to sign and that's it, which is basically again for us, the chair, Charlie.
Okay. I'll put one copy on your desk, Deb.
No, we gotta sign both of those.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll keep one here.
Thank you, Matt, for coordinating all that, getting us done timely this year.
Yep.
Now you got Orleans. to do.
Orleans will be next, at the November 18th, you'll have the Orleans contract.
Good. Good, we're ahead of the game here this year. Excellent.
Make a motion to accept the Orleans, you said Orleans, Newport ambulance contract as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Right. Stan. Okay, next up is the tobacco license, actually not, I shouldn't say tobacco, it's a vaping license for the place that, I guess it's still called Royers, but they're under disparate ownership. Deb, you wanna fill them in on this one?
So apparently this is something new that the town of Coventry is seeing. We have never had to approve a vaping license prior to. The new owners who are purchased or are still in the process of purchasing Royers, I'm not quite sure if it's actually a done deal as of yet. You've already gone ahead and approved for their cigarette license. You've already gone ahead and approved for their liquor license. I guess in order for them to be able to sell vaping products, it's a completely, totally separate tobacco license, which they have supplied for you for your approval. I don't really know too much more than that, except for it's a totally separate license than a cigarette license. And we've never issued one of these in the town of Coventry yet.
So there's been town folks who have seen this on our meeting that have communicated directly with me, their displeasure in the thought. Vaping is a separate, and obviously it is because we're looking at it from a different, it's not contained in the alcohol and tobacco. So that would make me think that probably the state has thought the same thing at some level. They're keeping that separate. I don't know why, but it's come to me fast. I think I'd like a little bit of time to think about that and get some information on it.
Would you like me to invite the new owners to the next select board meeting to have further discussion on it? Or is it, you want more information from liquor and control?
Well, they certainly are always welcome. It's their issue.
Yeah.
What do you guys got any thoughts or opinions on this one?
I mean, I don't smoke, I don't vape, I don't do any of that stuff, but,
You should start.
right? But, I got the same email you got, which I definitely, I read, I heard. But it's like their gas and their cigarettes and their beer. It's an income for them. It's a product for them to sell. But I'm fine with waiting and looking into what the liquor department, Vermont Liquor Control has to say. Read more on it.
I don't know anything about it, so it'd be nice to know more about it, but I look at it a little bit different. I don't like any of it. So to me,
Oh, boy.
we would never bat an eye and tell them they couldn't have a liquor license.
Mhm.
And that does more harm than vaping, as far as I'm concerned. So. We tell them they can have a liquor license and tell them they can't have a vaping license, it seems kind of silly.
Point.
Yeah,
But I would like to know more about it just because I don't know anything about it.
yeah, it's, this stuff, it's, forever Vermont didn't have lotteries, right? It was the biggest bad thing. Now they're everywhere.
Now they sell weed on every corner.
Yeah. And so
It's different and people,
I think we're all the same, and none of us vape, right? None of
Yeah.
us smoke. One of us drinks.
Two of us.
Two of us. But that's just one of those issues where like there's strong opinion, strong emotion on lottery, there's strong emotion on vaping, there's strong emotion on marijuana. There's going to be people that don't want it, no matter what. And that's okay. This one's new to me. I don't know why it's different. That's why it's not just inclusive of the.
I think because it's flavored or something and they kind of market it towards kids.
I don't think they can anymore, though.
Right, but I mean,
Mhm.
isn't it seen as more of like a, a
Fun thing to
a way
do.
to get younger people onto nicotine?
Yeah. I
Because
think,
because it's flavored.
so they're not doing flavors anymore?
Well, I think they do, I just don't
No.
think it's,
Mhm.
I don't know, I've never.
yeah, it's something that we don't keep up with. we just don't- we don't know.
I've never purchased a, hey. If I can go, just send me to the store tomorrow, I'll go see what they, see what some places got.
Let's table that one.
Yeah.
We got, now what do we do to educate? What's available to us for an education on this?
What's on the
The
license that they
Secretary of
submitted is
State
the-
must have
There's not
something.
really too much on the license. I would say probably your best source for education is going to be the Vermont Department of Liquor and Control. Because they will know exactly what the difference is between the cigarette license and this vaping license. And probably what it entails for them to be able to do and not do that's different than the cigarette.
Think we could get one of them to zoom in here? Do some reach out.
Okay,
Make a contact or two on this with the state and try to see if there's a professional that could either send us literature or better, give us 15 minutes in a meeting
yeah.
to tell us good, bad, and indifference.
So Deb, are you gonna let them know that we'll talk about this at our next meeting, that we didn't make a decision tonight? Okay.
I mean, that's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
slow it down
It's
and
not,
just,
it's not gonna break the bank if they don't get it next week.
No, I mean, we've got a meeting coming, I'll put it on the November 18th meeting and I'll get in touch with somebody between now.
see if, somebody can come and talk us through it.
Okay, thank you, Deb.
And if they send you anything, forward it right along and please.
Okay, next up, we have the town website as it pertains to the Coventry Fire District. And I'm assuming this has to do with hosting your meetings.
Yes, it's exactly what it has to do with. So, the Prudential Committee meets like every other week right now. And part of what the fire district has done is, incorporated recorded meetings of Zoom.
Mhm.
And it goes out into Zoom land. And so the feedback I've been receiving, probably you too, has been that people can't find it. And so we had a little bit of discussion on it at the last Prudential Committee meeting. So I asked, let's put it on this meeting to see what the town side of things says. And the town Scott says, well, why don't we just offer a spot on the town website? Because that seems like the natural spot everybody that I heard from goes and can't find it, like they do our meetings. So we don't even have a spot for Coventry Fire District, right?
We do not, and the town actually has two spots. The town posts, we have a YouTube channel, the town of Coventry has their own YouTube channel, and then we have the town website. So with this meeting right here, we'll go on both of those tomorrow morning. So there's two spots. So I don't know if you want the fire district meetings on the town of Coventry's YouTube channel or on the town website or both.
I didn't know it was different.
Yep.
Yeah, the fire district already has its own YouTube channel.
Okay,
So it'll be a link on the town's website to the YouTube channel.
And that should be fine. Probably just create its own separate little tab or page or whatnot. And then probably the agendas, the YouTube link, that can all be placed on with there.
So you
Yeah.
Daniel here. So if we, what we would be doing tonight, we would be saying as select board, we would approve that the Coventry Fire District have a spot on our website to be controlled through the administrator. The town administrator. You know, nobody else has access into manipulating and changing your website. That's Matt in the contract. And so if we open that offer up, we could send that back to the Prudential Committee at their next meeting.
Mhm.
And they could talk through it with the full Prudential board, but it's an option. That sound right, Deb?
Yep.
So if you wanna watch it, you're gonna go to the website, just like you're gonna watch one of these meetings.
Yeah, it seems like that's where everybody goes there anyway, so why reinvent the wheel and save them money, and then we've got the website anyway. So, should we motion that?
I would say yes.
Make a motion to allow the Coventry Fire District to put a link on the town, well, to give Matt the link to put on the website. So people can find the meetings and the agendas.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
very good.
Alright.
I have one quick comment. Not
What?
about that, back to the vaping. So I quickly just looked it up. The vaping license is actually called a tobacco substitute endorsement. And that's required to sell tobacco substitutes such as electronic cigarettes. So I guess basically that's the reason behind that license being different than the cigarette license. So it's allowing the sale of tobacco substitutes, but I was just throwing that out there.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you.
Deb.
Okay. Town report, 2025. I'm happy to say that I have received budget information from both Deb Tagway and David Barlow, so thank you, Deb and Dave. That will be included in your guys' overall budget approval. And just give me your stuff as soon as possible. Letters, pictures, anything you want included, send it along. I've sent out some emails this week to let people know. I spoke to the person that's going to be people that are printing up our report, same people we've used the last few years. And I got my schedule from them, so sooner you get me the stuff, the better. And, you know, please include your pictures and anything you need more. That's it. Other business?
Point of clarification, Mr. Chair, who's printing the town report this year?
It is Repro.
Repro.
Yeah, Repro.
Where are they out of?
Barry, Vermont. And they've done they've done every one since I've been here. So at least the last 3, and I'm not sure they had before that.
I think probably like maybe the last 5 or 6, I would say.
Yeah,
So this year we're going to the same size,
same size.
color.
Full color.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other business?
I have one.
Go ahead, Deb.
Just for the select board, in regards to the AP warrants, we are starting to see some individuals who are submitting receipts for fitness training, not the use of fitness gym, but for fitness training. Now, the current policy that we have in place does not allow for those invoices to fall underneath the town's appropriation or our allotment towards the health club reimbursement. I just wanted to let you know that that's something you guys wanted to revisit, relook at, or just leave that as is. I'm not seeing too many, but we have received a couple of those requests. Basically, I have just stated that those are not covered underneath the current policy as it is written. I believe the reason why it was not placed in there was because obviously the cost that people pay for training is a lot more than what they pay for a monthly fee to the health clubs, which would then really eat up the dollar amount that we have in that line item for all Coventry residents to use. But I just want to throw that out there. I am getting some, I am letting them know that they are not permissible. But if that's something you folks at one point want to look at to change.
Like people hiring a personal trainer, is that what you're?
Correct, yes, yeah.
Do you have the original document or the most up-to-date document?
You mean like the policy?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Matt should.
That's good, yeah. Where's
Yeah.
it?
the health club policy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna send it along.
Sure.
But
Thank
that's it.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks,
Deb.
Deb.
So those are not in here.
No,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
What's it called? The health club policy?
Health club.
Yes, yeah.
reimbursement, something.
Health club policy. Okay, thanks, Deb. You have two sets of minutes there. One from our last regular select board meeting and one from a special meeting, that's from 2 days later.
I didn't find anything in them. I thought they was good.
You good with them?
You're-
Make two motions, a motion for each one, can I just do it?
You can do them both.
You could do them as a stack together.
Make a motion to accept the minutes for the select board meeting, Town of Coventry, Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, and the minutes for October 21st as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. And then you got some warrants there.
Are we like getting the salt in increments?
Yeah, he calls whenever Nathan calls whenever he wants it, I think.
What's he want salt for right now?
What's that?
What's he want salt for right now?
What, to do or something?
Mm,
Or maybe it's just on a schedule and they bring it, I honestly, I have no idea.
You always buy it about now, actually, maybe even earlier, so you have it. I mean,
Yeah,
if it
'cause there
snows, if it
was-
snows next week,
I know, there was a bill or two already this year, this summer, I think,
for salt or chloride.
maybe. Chloride
Yeah,
then.
I don't know if you guys remember, when you approved that salt contract, I sent it right back the next day, so they.
So I just wondered, they just bring it up like a truckload at a time or something.
That's a good question for Nathan.
There you go.
My key does not work at the garage.
Garage.
14. I'll have to go someday when they're there.
What are these mileage reimbursements?
I don't even have keys. Matt doesn't give them to me.
At the last BCA meeting, I had mentioned through the CTCL grant, that election officials were going to receive, like little gift cards for, like has an additional bonus for them coming on election day. Because there aren't actually, David had gone to Walmart to try to pick some up. They did not have any that were like generic. They were all Walmart, whatever. That's not what I want to give people. So we're just doing it out, has a stipend then for a $75 check versus a $75 gift card. But again, it's all reimbursable by the CTCL grant funding that we've already received.
Thank you, Deb. This is all the appropriations.
Yes, it is.
And the other stipends that you'll be seeing, like your folks' stipend, and I think Pedro's, not Pedro, Phil's will all be paid out via payroll due to the amount.
Direct deposit, you're saying?
I think
Okay.
David will probably do it direct deposit if he has your direct deposit information. Otherwise, he'll issue you a check. And I would imagine that if that's not within, no, that wasn't this week's payroll, I imagine it'll probably be in the next following payroll.
Matt's name's not on that list.
What did I not get?
Stipend for moderator.
No, because he's already paid via the town, he has to fall underneath payroll. So he'll be paid way via that way.
Yeah, that's it, it's just a different. Is that what she was just, that's what you, this is what you guys were just talking about, because so we're paying out some of the officials.
Yeah.
Correct, so you've got the planning commission,
Pedro's on there for a couple different things.
yep, planning commission and health officer or something.
Okay, so why didn't we do them all together?
Because some, if you're already an employee, then you have to be paid via payroll. We can't go ahead and issue a separate AP check. And because your dollar amounts are greater than 600, you have to be paid through payroll.
I remember these things after you tell me, Deb.
That's okay. We like to remind
Remember
you.
it all is good for next year?
Yeah, I got it all.
Yeah.
I'll ask Deb next year.
Once she says it, I remember, but it's just so many part. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so Dave's. all right.
Otherwise, you have Department of Labor on your butt.
Yeah, I remember. All right, jeez.
I
Yeah.
know.
Well, hey Deb, so Goodhue East Engineering, you're coming to get theirs tomorrow. You want me to do anything with any of the other ones or just those two?
Just those two will be perfect.
Okay, I'll leave the rest on your desk then.
Thank you.
Yep.
If you want to take, well, your wife's check in there, you can too.
Nah, she can wait.
Okay.
Motion to accept the warrants.
Thank you, Dan.
Second.
All in favor?
I don't remember seeing her name in there. I make a
Motion.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned by unanimous consent at 6:39 PM. Great job, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Deb.
See you tomorrow.